In the eerie silence of a deserted store, Carol's trembling hands search for any medicine or energy drink within reach. Her body strains to stay awake, while ominous forces relentlessly pound on a nearby door, their persistent banging sending shivers down her spine. This nightmarish ordeal begins just a few days ago. It all starts with a catastrophic event that shakes the nation to its core. A space shuttle, on its return journey to Earth, explodes into a fiery blast, scattering its broken parts across multiple states in the vast expanse of the United States. Within moments, news outlets across the country erupt with headlines, calling it a sign of an alien invasion. Panic spreads through the population like wildfire, and fear freezes many in their tracks. People hesitate to touch the mysterious debris that has fallen, but not everyone is paralyzed by fear. Opportunistic individuals take advantage, selling their finds on the ever-ready eBay. In the midst of this chaos, Tucker, a prominent figure as the head of the Center for Disease Control, arrives at one of the crash sites for a thorough investigation. There, he learns of a chilling revelation. A piece of the debris is tainted with a perplexing organism, one that defies normal logic. This otherworldly entity exhibits an astonishing resistance to radiation and can multiply at an alarming pace, a clear indicator of its extraterrestrial origin. Oblivious to the sinister secret he'll soon discover, Tucker unwittingly brushes against a small shard of the alien material, receiving an inconspicuous cut on his finger. The night takes an ominous turn when Tucker returns home. His loyal dog, usually a symbol of unwavering affection, now growls at him with inexplicable hostility. As he lays down to rest, Tucker's body begins to betray him, drenching him in sweat and undergoing an eerie transformation, as if an alien force is quietly invading his very being. Meanwhile, Carol, Tucker's ex-wife, is preoccupied with the nightmare of their son Oliver, who is screaming in terror. Rushing to his side, she offers comfort throughout the night, unaware of the unfolding horrors. The following morning, Carol receives a bewildering call from Tucker, a request to see his son, an unusual desire given his 4-year absence. Suspicion creeps into her mind, and she promptly declines, hanging up the phone. With Oliver safely at school, Carol heads to her office, where she practices as a psychiatrist. On her way to work, she encounters her close friend Ben, a doctor who has suspicions about a government conspiracy surrounding the crash. The fact that all the researchers at the crash site have abruptly resigned only fuels his doubts. Carol, however, has little patience for political intrigue, venting her frustrations about Tucker's increasingly bizarre behavior and his sudden desire to see their son. Upon reaching her office, Carol's first patient, Wendy, reveals her own disturbing tale. Her husband's recent erratic behavior has culminated in a gruesome act, killing their once-beloved dog without a trace of emotion. Carol can't ignore the growing sense that something sinister is afoot, prescribing a new medication for Wendy to manage her distress. Later that evening, Carol joins her neighbor to take their children out for Halloween trick-or-treating. Their group stumbles upon a house that triggers chaos as the family dog turns aggressive. It takes an extraordinary effort to restrain the dog, who attacks one of the boys. The boy, remarkably composed, subdues the frenzied animal with his bare hands. It becomes apparent that something has gone terribly wrong. Back at Carol's home, the neighbor confides that her own son has been behaving strangely, as if emotions have deserted him. Suddenly, Oliver's piercing screams from another room draw Carol's attention. Rushing to him, she discovers a grotesque piece of flesh protruding from his hand, a horrifying discovery linked to the Halloween candy. The next morning, Carol encounters a terror-stricken woman in the streets, but she chooses to ignore the plea for help. Instead, she brings the bizarre flesh to Ben, who enlists the aid of his scientist friend, Stephen, for analysis. However, the results will take time. As this unsettling chain of events unfolds, a mysterious virus begins its ruthless spread across the nation, leaving death in its wake. An emergency meeting in the Capitol, presided over by Tucker, reveals the dire consequences of the virus's unchecked expansion. Desperate measures are needed, and Tucker proposes an inoculation program as the only solution. Simultaneously, infected waiters taint the tea they serve to unsuspecting guests. Carol's observant eye catches a homeless man's seizure on the streets, prompting her to take action. Yet, unlike the terrified woman, he receives help. Later, in her office, Carol encounters Wendy's husband, who displays an unsettling absence of emotion. Alarmed, Carol warns Wendy, and they seek refuge elsewhere. Carol's reluctant decision to allow Oliver to spend time with Tucker leads to a harrowing encounter on their way to Tucker's house. A terrified woman materializes in their path, foretelling impending disaster. Before she can elaborate, tragedy strikes as a car mercilessly strikes her down. The driver, eerily composed, leaves Carol puzzled. Police arrive, but their response only deepens her suspicions. Moments later, Carol entrusts Oliver to Tucker's care, but she can't ignore the unsettling lack of emotion on her ex-husband's face as she departs. Later, she and Ben attend a fancy party, engaging in a philosophical discourse with diplomats and doctors. The night takes an unexpected turn when they return home, revealing a strange visitor from the Census Department. At this late hour, the encounter defies logic. Carol's attempt to shut the door is met with resistance, igniting a struggle with the enigmatic visitor. Carol prevails, securing her safety within her home. Meanwhile, Oliver spends time with his friend Jean, who shares unsettling observations about his own father's strange behavior. As the night wears on, Tucker prepares a peculiar drink for the unsuspecting boy. The following day, Carol's once familiar surroundings have transformed into a haunting tableau. The streets are filled with people who wear vacant expressions, as if their very souls have been stolen. This eerie sight rattles her to her core, but she has little time to dwell on it. Upon arriving at her office, the full scope of the nightmare becomes apparent. Every single one of her clients has canceled their appointments for the day, leaving her stunned and alone in her perplexity. Carol's immediate impulse is to reach out to Wendy, but it is her husband who answers the call, claiming that everything is perfectly fine. Carol's mind races as she connects the dots, realizing that the virus has assumed control over people's lives. In her quest for answers, Carol delves into a frantic online search, hoping to unearth some information about the mysterious virus. However, her research is abruptly interrupted by her secretary, offering a cup of tea. Before she can even consider drinking it, a call from Ben shatters the silence. Ben, her steadfast ally in this tumultuous ordeal, conveys the long-awaited results of the skin patch analysis. Racing to the lab, Carol is met by Stephen, who divulges a chilling revelation. The skin sample is composed of molecular spores that invade the human brain during sleep, rewriting its genetic code and inducing instability. The dire implication is that sleep has become forbidden, the only way to stave off the deadly infection. Their discussion is abruptly interrupted when Ludmilla calls Ben, her husband Urish displaying alarming behavior. The trio wastes no time, converging on Urish's residence. Carol can't help but notice the long queues of people on the streets, waiting anxiously for vaccination against the rapidly spreading virus. At Urish's home, they are confronted with a grotesque transformation that defies explanation. Carol attempts to document the horrifying scene, but her actions stir the monstrous figure from its slumber. A frenzied attack ensues, only halted by Ben's quick intervention, forcing Urish to retreat, vomit a strange liquid, and ultimately succumb to his affliction. Fear gnaws at Carol as thoughts of her son's potential exposure race through her mind. She hurries to Tucker's home, where she finds him ensconced in a mysterious meeting. Desperate to locate Oliver, Carol confronts Tucker, but instead of answers, she finds herself encircled by the men from the meeting. Panic wells up as she tries to flee, but Tucker overtakes her, attempting to infect her with his saliva. A frantic struggle ensues, but Carol manages to break free and escape through the rear exit. The neighborhood offers no sanctuary, as the infection has infiltrated even her neighbors. Carol's attempts to seek help are met with eerie indifference. She races to her car, only to find the road barricaded from all sides. Her escape attempt ends in a crash, forcing her to continue on foot. A relentless pursuit ensues, and Carol is chased by a group of infected individuals. She reaches a main avenue, desperately seeking aid, but the masses ignore her pleas. With no alternative, Carol seeks refuge in a subway station. The train she boards is filled with passengers displaying the same emotionless demeanor. It is there, in the depths of the underground, that her phone chimes with a message from Oliver. He begs for her help, revealing that Tucker has hidden him away. Carol teeters on the brink of a breakdown, but a fellow passenger discloses a secret. They, too, are uninfected, but maintain a facade of emotionlessness to evade the attention of the afflicted. The tranquility is shattered when a group of infected individuals enters the train car, prompting a desperate scramble to the other end of the train. The infected passengers, relentless in their pursuit, trigger the emergency stop and pound on the door. With no other option, Carol flings open the back door and leaps from the moving train, fleeing through the tunnel until she reaches a station's locker room. There, she stumbles upon a guard's firearm, and in her frightened state, she inadvertently discharges it, claiming the guard's life. Terrified and on the run, Carol adopts a stoic demeanor, masquerading as an infected individual. She emerges onto the street, where she witnesses infected police officers forcibly administering the vaccine to uninfected citizens. It is Tucker's insidious ploy to propagate the virus further. A vigilant officer notices the sweat on Carol's face, but permits her to leave, not suspecting her true condition. Carol ventures onward, ultimately encountering her neighbor, who offers her the vaccine. Carol's convincing pretense spares her from suspicion. She continues to Tucker's residence, but it is deserted. Leaving a message for Oliver, she ventures out again and stumbles upon a grim spectacle. A crowd of onlookers watches as a couple ends their lives. With resolve, Carol presses forward until she reaches the Belisec mansion, where Ben and Stephen are engaged in critical research. After deliberation, Ben pledges to assist Carol in her quest to locate her son. Stephen and his assistant embark on a mission to Fort Detrick in Maryland to seek a cure for the virus. Fearful of infection, they vow to stay awake. Belisec's return prompts an unsettling confrontation, resulting in armed guards infiltrating the mansion. Carol and her allies, alerted by security cameras, escape through the rear exit, slipping away into the night. The group separates, and Carol and Ben contemplate Wendy's mysterious immunity. Their musings lead to a chilling realization that the virus selectively targets healthy brains, avoiding those afflicted with encephalitis. Endy has been spared due to her pre-existing condition. A breakthrough comes when they access Wendy's medical records, confirming their theory. Wendy's immunity is rooted in her illness. Ben relays this crucial information to Stephen at the lab, while Carol receives a text from Oliver, revealing his location at his grandmother's home in Baltimore. In a moment of vulnerability, Carol confesses her infection to Ben, who reassures her that they will find a way out of this nightmare. Ben drives recklessly through blocked roads, ultimately sacrificing himself to the pursuing police so Carol could escape. On foot, Carol perseveres, and when confronted by a cop, she presents her ID with a poker face, securing her release. She reaches the station and boards a train to Baltimore, where she seeks refuge in a bathroom. The relentless lack of sleep takes its toll, subjecting her to disturbing visions. Mirroring her fear, her reflection in the mirror seems to menace her. She snaps back to consciousness just in time, scrubbing away a strange piece of flesh. As she opens the bathroom door, she is confronted by Jean, who harbors suspicions about her true condition. Tucker arrives to escort Carol and Jean to his mother's home, deceived by Carol's emotionless facade. Yet, Oliver is nowhere to be found. While Tucker is away, Carol embarks on a covert search of the house, finally locating Oliver in a room. Their initial hesitance melts away as they share an emotional moment. Oliver reveals that, despite sleeping regularly, he has not undergone the transformation, owing to medication for his sleeping disorder that renders him immune. Their reunion is interrupted by Jean's discovery of their clandestine meeting, leading to a confrontation. Carol's quick thinking allows her to evade Jean's grasp, and she flees with Oliver in tow. Outside, a chase ensues as Tucker pursues them relentlessly. A broken window in an abandoned warehouse offers a temporary hiding spot, but Tucker is relentless. As he delivers a villainous monologue, Carol attempts a surreptitious escape, but Tucker seizes her from behind. In a desperate bid to protect her son, Oliver intervenes, striking his father with a metal tool. Tucker retaliates, capturing Oliver instead. This provides Carol with the opening she needs, delivering a decisive blow to Tucker's head and allowing their escape. Carol and Oliver seek refuge within an empty department store, navigating the aisles in search of sustenance. Hours stretch on, and while Oliver sleeps, Carol scours the store for anything that will keep her awake, mirroring the beginning of this harrowing tale. Unfortunately, Carol's desperate struggle to stay awake proves futile, and exhaustion claims her in the end. The infected individuals inside the room rouse from their slumber, pounding relentlessly on the door in their bid to escape. The cacophonous commotion awakens Oliver, who makes a heart-stopping discovery. His mother has succumbed to sleep's embrace. In a race against time, Oliver seizes the syringe and injects his mother just in the nick of time. The transformation is halted, and Carol, jolted awake, wastes no time in scrubbing the bizarre flesh from her face. She steps out of the bathroom to a welcome sight. Ben has finally arrived. Carol rushes forward, arms outstretched, ready to embrace her savior. But her joy is short-lived, for she soon realizes the grim truth. Ben, too, has fallen victim to the infection. Carol takes a cautious step back as Ben extends an eerie invitation. He speaks of a new society devoid of crime, hatred, or discrimination, a chilling prospect in this new, nightmarish reality. A terror-stricken Carol levels her gun at him, but despite her hesitation, Ben opens the door, releasing the other infected individuals. He points to Oliver, signaling their hatred of immunity. As the group converges to capture the defenseless child, Carol makes a harrowing choice. She opens fire, methodically eliminating them one by one. Yet, when it comes to Ben, her resolve wavers, and she opts to incapacitate him with a shot to the leg before fleeing with Oliver in tow. Outside, they commandeer Ben's car to make their escape. Carol navigates the chaos with adrenaline coursing through her veins, evading pursuit and maintaining contact with Stephen, who provides them with a vital address, a rendezvous point for a helicopter. However, as they reach the main street, they find themselves ensnared by a sea of vehicles. A collision ensues, causing Carol to black out momentarily. The infected masses converge on the car, but Oliver's quick thinking saves them. He locks the doors and shakes his mother awake, just in time to thwart an infected man attempting to break in. Carol takes charge, flooring the accelerator to push their assailants aside and break free. Several infected individuals still cling to the car's roof, but Carol employs a daring strategy, driving recklessly and intentionally colliding with objects to dislodge them. Pursuing police cars compound the peril, relentlessly ramming her vehicle until it finally crashes into a pillar. Undeterred, Carol and Oliver flee the wrecked car, sprinting to the elevator, where they narrowly evade their relentless pursuers. They make it to the rooftop, where Stephen and his fellow soldiers await in a helicopter. With a final desperate push, they escape, leaving their pursuers in their dust. In the aftermath, scientists outside the United States succeed in developing a vaccine, eradicating the alien virus from the world. Life gradually returns to normal, and Stephen, the driving force behind the vaccine, informs the press that the vaccinated will have no recollection of the harrowing events. Meanwhile, Carol has embraced Jean as her own, and she and Ben have forged a relationship amidst the chaos. As the boys head off to school, Ben reads the newspaper, commenting on the violent crimes perpetrated by individuals, prompting Carol to ponder the aliens' enigmatic offer of peace. And so, this chilling tale comes to a close.